Here in region, for example, we have lots of stereotypes.
You have identity and you have interests.
The biggest opportunities or maybe like risks of deeper integration in Central Asia.
Role of business and civil society.
There is also some other areas that we might be missing.
Doing things together.
Losing their national autonomy.
Big player like Uzbekistan.
Now, like youngsters prefer speaking their national languages.
You have to be careful that everybody is on board.
Hello everyone, welcome to CPR Talk. Today we are joined by Ambassador and Dr. Janne Taalas, one of the Finland's most experienced diplomats and the current Chief Executive Officer of the Martti Ahtisaari Peace Foundation. So over career spanning more than 25 years, Ambassador Taalas has worked at the highest levels of multilateral diplomacy, serving as a special envoy at the 2020 Afghanistan conference to representing Finland as an ambassador to Italy, Malta, and San Marino. He has been deputy permanent representative to the United Nations in New York and director of policy planning at Finland's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And of course, a key figure in Finland's OSCE chairmanship task force. So fluent in multiple languages, Janne has spent his career navigating complex negotiations, building bridges between regions, and shaping cooperative framework in Europe and beyond. Today, we are going to explore what lessons Europe's experience can offer to Central Asia by the Eurasian region and how this region might work together in the decades ahead. So, Janne, in Europe, we see countries nurture strong regional identity. For example, we know about Catalonia, we know about Bavaria, we know about Lapland, right? While still maintaining national unity and pulling some sovereignty to at the European level. So from your perspective, what makes this balancing act possible?
Thank you. Thank you for the nice words, and thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure. It's my first time in Tashkent, and it's a great pleasure to be here in the podcast. It's about identity. What you're asking.
Yes.
What kind of identities are European identities? And I would say one word: layered. You can be a proud Sami from the northern part of the Scandinavia, and also a nation of citizen of Finland or Sweden or Norway. At the same time, you can feel Nordic and you can feel European. There are strong regional, and it's not only about certain regions, Catalonia. If you go to European cities, especially older cities, have a very, very strong identities. You just go to football match somewhere, you can feel it, you can touch it. So that's it. At the same time, you have your regional or city identity, and you have your national identity. You can be Frenchman, you can be a German. And very often you have even this beyond the identities that go beyond Benelux, Nordics. And then you have the European Union, kind of European type. So I think in one word, it's layered. You do not have single identity. You have different elements of different identity is about feeling a belonging. And you can belong to different things at the same time.
Yeah, here in region, for example, we have lots of stereotypes when it comes to identity. Some people still, I wouldn't say argue, but they're wary of losing their national autonomy when we talk about the regional organizations, institutionalization of Central Asian cooperative mechanisms. But I think like European case could be very interesting case to unite this preserving national identity at the same time having regional identity, right? to enhance their strategic autonomy, to come up as one voice in international relations. So there have been like moments when regional ambitions clash with national and EU goals in recent history, right? Like, how will those tensions resolved in Europe? Could you like share some experience, maybe some insights?
Yeah, I think what you described is that you have identity is important in if you think of regional cooperation. But at the same time, in international, my experience of 25 years of international cooperations, interests are driving international cooperation. So you have two categories, two thoughts, two kind of forces. You have identity and you have interests. And they are not the same thing. And and I would say that, okay, normal international cooperation, it's about sharing interest. Now, what happens today, Friday, in Alaska, it's about the Americans and the Russians are trying to align their interests. That's kind of purest sense of international politics. But then in the regional level, you have, in addition to this interest, you have identity. And different situations have a different balance of identity and interests. And I think it is I think that the regional cooperation that does not reflect interests of countries, of peoples, will not last. And that you need to do that in order to build identity. Doing things together, achieving things together builds identity. So it's a dynamic process. And so, sorry about the long question, but I think this is at the heart of the regional cooperation, I think.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Like when we talk about this kind of maintaining, preserving national identity and regional identity, that there is also balancing, right, between those factors. But some people might say this, Europe has different political cultures, that's why it's working, but it might not work in some other cases. For example, when we talk about ASEAN model, right? Like ASEAN model is not institutionalized as European model, and they are quite ad hoc, and they don't have, it's kind of more recommending kind of structure. What do you think, like in case of Central Asia, which model from your perspective could be more appropriate, more feasible, considering this changing geopolitical or changing international or shifting international order?
I'm very frank. I'm the last one to give advice or to tell what the smart people here in Central Asia should be doing. I can give reflections and some ideas. What are the differences? Why certain choices have been made in Europe, less in ASEAN, but maybe reflect on that. So this is not a kind of recipe how to do it. It's an explanation why Europeans are doing it. And it's and I come back to the identity interests. Europeans, the European kind of integration as well as the Nordic cooperation is based on interests. You, by working together, you can promote your own and common interest better. That is the fundamental point. So the Europeans have been gone further. They have said, okay, they will relinquish some of their sovereignty to kind of supranational body in order to do together more than they could do alone. This is really the logic. It would require that you have quite a strong identity. You don't feel that your identity is being threatened. This is, you get the sense that you actually gain by having more leverage, being able to negotiate and the trade issues and other issues together more. So I think this is, I think in ASEAN context, there is a less willingness to yield sovereignty in kind of beyond the nation state. So it's more guarded. You could argue that there might be that the countries are younger. There is a less willingness, kind of, because national sovereignty and identity is still very holy and very important. Europeans are happy to trade for some of their, the power to decide alone certain things, to power to decide together and get things done. And I think this is why, and maybe just one thought, which is relevant also in terms of Central Asia, is that it's also, this is when you have a different sizes of states. You have to have certain degree of security, especially for the smaller states, because they are the most sensitive, or their interest to be listened. That Europe could not be only run on basis of German interests, or there's one country that would dominate. So it will require a generosity for those bigger players towards the smaller players. That the big players in that setup needs to make sure that also the interests. You can't say that you are here, identity, we are here, we have to do it together, but you have to make sure, like a big player like Uzbekistan has to make sure that the cooperation, the regional cooperation, benefits also smaller players in their interests. That's the only way to build a cohesive regional approach.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you for your insight. Again, like based on your EU and Nordic experience, what do you see as the biggest opportunities or maybe like risks of deeper integration in Central Asia?
What drives integration?
Yeah, like maybe like what kind of opportunities we might have if we deeper integrate in Central Asia? Maybe like there is also risk of deeper integration from your perspective.
I don't kind of risks. Yeah, maybe the risk point is that you have to be careful that everybody is on board, and that's very. You're thinking of European situation. We have a big power, or we have regional regional actors that reflect very different powers. If you think of Benelux, Luxembourg is quite small, so it has to be built on. That there is a recognition, or let's say Liechtenstein. So you have to take into account, and I think this is their special responsibility for larger players to make sure that everybody benefits. It's not equal, and that sometimes there might be a sense that the smaller ones benefit more than the bigger ones, because I think the smaller ones are more threatened for their identity and for their all their interests. So maybe on that, I see that as an important thing. Maybe the second point, what I think is crucial, I would say the role of business and civil society. The fact is that you don't make a regional cooperation kind of state level. You don't make a decision that, okay, you have to have these linkages. You have to have a people. If I think of the Nordics that have been very deeply integrated from the 1950s, part of that is really the free movement of labor. And also quite kind of, labor has been, so there has to be human and investment across the region. So you start to consider the region as a one single market. So these are processes that require state facilitation, but you can't do it by state decision. You have to have the kind of civil society and business to thrive and to drive it.
Okay, wonderful. So you talked about this role of civil society and business in integration process. As you know quite well, recent years relationship between European Union and Central Asia and some other European countries have improved enormously. So looking ahead, what do you think, like what concrete steps could like both regions take to deepen this cooperation beyond official visits or trade deals? Maybe like there is also some other areas that we might be missing, maybe like academic exchange or something like that.
I think your question answered itself. I think there is I would think that the states have to make environment that would allow civil society contacts, more Central Asians to study, work, live, and Europe and the other way around. So I think that is very crucial. More linkages, more transportation linkages, more tourism, more interaction. So I think this is what benefits everybody.
Yeah, I think like in this context, I should also mention, if you pay attention, youngsters in Uzbekistan, they are quite well versed in their national language, and their way of thinking is also more globalized. So then their parents, for example, their parents might grow up during Soviet Union speaking Russians, but now like youngsters prefer speaking their national languages, for example, Uzbek, Kazakh, right? At the same time, they speak English very well, again, comparatively, and they see beyond these borders. I think this could be also good opportunity to enhancing this relationship between two regions. Okay, let's move to period after 10, 15 years. What do you think, like, what kind of Central Asia or broader Eurasia you imagine? Will it be more integrated or fragmented or something in between, from your perspective?
This is a difficult question, especially this Friday. We have lots of uncertainty in international politics that it's very, very difficult to answer. Maybe I don't know what I do expect. Let's take a step back. I think of this region 15 years ago. It was very, very different. So it would have been difficult to predict 15 years ago where we are going to be now. But I'll take the plunge and try to, if this trajectory continues, and what you said about the youth, you have a very vibrant, somebody bumped into me and speaking English when I'm walking here. So it's impressive. Lots of young people. Education level is rising. This Central Asia is on the between Europe and Asia is likely to be, like, next 15 years, really one of the fastest growing areas in the world. So I see tremendous economic benefits or possibilities opening for this region. Of course, some political uncertainty, as I started, because we have the international politics is moving. It's in a more uncertain moment now after 22. So economic possibilities, lots of domestic potential, economic possibilities opening in the neighborhood. How the political issues will be dealt will have an important impact or very significant impact of that. But I'm optimist. This is what President Ahtisaari's legacy. So I think it would be possible, and I'm looking forward for the Central Asia to reaping the benefits and doing it together. Because the only way this region can, if there is a kind of beg thy neighbor that you will do something to get from your neighbor, it's just kind of win-win type of cooperation among the Central Asians. And if that happens, I think the future is bright.
Okay, thank you so much for your insights, for joining our podcast, and we will work on your interesting thoughts and we'll share. Thank you so much.
Thank you.